Hello guys and welcome to another day with Zamalata. My name is Serge and in today's video we're going to be installing the outer tie rod and inner tie rod. But before we do that, we need to remove the actual tie rod assembly as one piece. The installation is going to be in pieces. So right here along the threads, just want to mark that area. I'm using an orange marker. Probably not the best for the job. And I'm also going to mark it like that is the top. I'm going to mark it kind of like where it stops right there. This is kind of common sense to mark it because anytime you remove something, you want to make sure that you know exactly where it was installed, because upon installation, you'll need to basically do an alignment. And if you don't want to do an alignment, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. If you don't want to do an alignment, then it's good to mark it. And I don't want to do an alignment. So anyways, these are special type of pliers for any type of these clamps, because I do just want to go ahead and remove this as like a whole piece. I tried fitting a 32-inch, it would not fit. So it might be 33 or 34. But I did pick up this right here that I have, for the bearings. This is 36. This does go in, and it does kind of grab it, but it's a star shape, so it might be like even like a 35. Who knows? Doesn't matter. You can't use a socket on it anyways. But this is what I'll have to use. That boot, something else. It's annoying. I need to put like a bungee on it or something. Okay, I gotta figure something out about that boot. Oh, that did it. Well, there we go, guys. I did remove the outer and the inner tie rod together, but here we have a brand new tie rod and the inner tie rod. Since I'm replacing both inner and outer tie rod, I removed it as one piece. But for the installation, it's going to be a little different. It's best to just install it in pieces. To remove it, you'll need to, you can't push it out that way. It's just not going to work. You'll need to first remove this. And let's get that done. I got this vise to work specifically with a tow hitch. It looks like it needs to rotate in here. Let's try to do something else. Lock the bolt up. Finally. Okay. At least I was actually able to get it loose. So yeah, that would make some noise. All right, up next. I mean, the whole reason I'm doing this is so that I could actually remove this rubber boot here. But it poses a challenge all in itself. Well, now it doesn't matter which way I tap it, because it's gonna break free either way. To remove the rubber boot, I need to actually remove the nut that sits on the smallest end of the inner tie rod. And this would actually be the piece that the outer tie rod attaches to. So you cannot slide out the rubber boot, but one way only. And that is basically through the same side where the outer tie rod gets installed. So at this point, the outer tie rod piece has been removed, and basically now I gotta remove the nut so that I could slide out the actual rubber boot. It's the only way it could be done. So that's what I'm doing. Already I could tell there's a lot more threads on this shaft here. But how long is it? Okay, I'm gonna need to take that rubber boot off because it's not letting me do what I want. Why was it so stuck? Okay, this is better. Yeah, that would cause a ruckus. So my tie rods was knocking. Okay, so let's see, I don't want them to move. I'm gonna try to do everything I can to this is like, I like it so much beefier. So yeah, like lengthwise they're identical. Yeah, that's about right. Because obviously it will slip. So that's close enough, because look, upon installation I need this to be a certain way, and once I get it done right, I'm just gonna lock it in with that piece there. And of course we want to get it close enough, but you do need to do an alignment, you know, so it's not like you could get away from not doing alignment. And by the way, I'm going to keep this boot out of the way like that for now. Out of the way. So I'm going to use a vise now. Well, that's barely on. At this point, I'm assembling the inner and outer tie rods, because I do want to measure them and see if they're going to be the same length with the inner and outer tie rods and compare the two. But when installing, it's not going to be that easy to install the whole entire tie rod with the inner and outer tie rods being together as one piece, like I have it right now. Therefore, I recommend to install them piece by piece. So first installing the inner tie rod, and once you install it, then you could actually bend it out of the way and install the outer tie rod, as I will demonstrate in this video. But just for the heck of it, I will show you that it's very challenging to actually install the tie rod as one piece. As you can see, guys, if I try to attempt to install this inner and outer tie rod together, and this is the brand new one that I just put together, everything is in the way, because this whole thing is no longer bendy, and it's like nice and straight, and it's basically kind of hard to install it. Now, of course, it's possible. Like anything's possible. You could, really work at it, but it's going to pose a challenge. Now, there is one thing that you can do. You could kind of like bend it out of the way when you're trying to install it, or remove the front left control arm and just bend this whole thing out of the way. Or you could have installed it when like I had like all of the things removed, like I did not have nothing installed, like those control arms, if I was to think ahead of time, but I did not. But usually when people are replacing the tie rod, that's all they're replacing. So this is why I'm basically talking about just that, because when your tie rods goes bad, well, that's the only thing you need to replace. So some mechanics probably will remove some of these extra components that's in the way. But the problem with that is, once you're going to start removing the ball joint bolt and the control arm bolt, there's a chances of that stuff being stuck, as you guys have seen in my earlier videos. And then when you try to remove those things, then you might end up breaking the rubber piece on the actual ball joint and the actual front control arm when you try to remove it. And then you run into issues like now you got to replace these parts. Well, maybe they're bad anyways, but I'm saying if you don't need to replace them, let's say they're nice and new like mine, there's a possibility that they don't want to remove, and then you're going to end up breaking them. But anyways, I tried every which way to try to install it without having to remove it, even bending this out of the way and even lifting everything up using a jack. Those things did not work for me. The best thing to do is just install it into pieces. It's going to be much, much easier, as I will demonstrate in the next clip. Guys, I thought about how I'm gonna install this. I tried doing this method. It did not work. And that's because all of this stuff is nice and stiff, both ends. They're not loosey-goosey like the removal. So the installation will be different than the removal. I cannot install it as one piece just like I removed it, which I attempted to do. But if I install this other piece, then I can have some leverage. I could bend it out of the way. I could bend it down. Then I could install this, and that would work. Okay, let's give this a try. Now just installing a single component. Yep, I'm actually able to get it to spin. And I'm going to go ahead and get it good and tight. And after I will do that, I'm going to bend this piece down because it will bend down actually. So I gotta now get underneath to tighten it. Okay, so that's good. Okay, I'm not gonna tighten this just yet, but everything is in place. I could go ahead and get this clamp on there, this little one. The big one is perfect. I just gotta tighten it up with the number 8. Okay, that's good. Whew. Okay, now you see I bend it down. Now it's going to be easy for me to do this. Everything's just trial and error. And once I actually install it in there, I will then tighten that up to be a little bit tighter. Okay, so now I'm ready. I mean, maybe that just won't budge. Okay, well that worked really nice. Is that a 21? How is it even spinning? It's actually, it's not a 21. It's like a 22. But it was working. It's a nice surprise. What I do need is a 22 long, and that's a 21 long. What I meant to say is deep socket goes through. That actually is tightening good. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Looks like the inner and outer tie rods has been removed and installed in this video, as stated in the title of this video. Hope you guys liked the video. Now I gotta continue doing everything else, make sure everything is nice and tight, and as they say, cross my T's, dot my I's when I'm actually doing this. And in the next video, I'm going to be installing the actual dust shield, the bearing, the rotor, the brake assembly. I'll be doing all that in the next video, guys. So I hope you guys stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.